Today is Bill Clinton's big 2016 debut. The former president is in New Hampshire, officially hitting the campaign trail on Hillary's behalf for the first time this year. And Donald Trump isn't letting up. Among a number of recent comments bashing Bill Clinton over his sexual history, Trump tweeted, quote, "I hope Bill Clinton starts talking about women's issues so that voters can see what a hypocrite he is and how Hillary abused those women." And Trump went even further over the weekend when he said this.
She's married to a person that's a serious abuser, and I mean at the highest level. And she, you know, she's not an innocent victim. She was the one that would go along with him in this whole game that they play. So she's not like the innocent person sitting by the side and, you know, with tears in her eyes. She's a person that was very much involved.
Wow. So what do you think, Congressman? Is he effective at ruining what maybe was Hillary Clinton's strongest weapon?
There may be some effect in blunting this because, as you know, the Democrats for the last number of cycles, and they fully intend to do it again, is using the issue of war on women. Cory Gardner from Colorado, for instance, did a great job of blunting that, talking about women's health care, talking about those issues. And so you know that that's the playbook Hillary Clinton's going to run, and that's a playbook, frankly, that Bill Clinton is going to run. So I think these are legitimate issues to talk about. Where my concern comes down in all of this, though, is we have much bigger issues we need to be discussing.
That's right.
Every time this is discussed, we're not talking about the fact that ISIS is growing. We're not talking about the fact that Al-Qaeda and the Taliban are regaining a foothold in Afghanistan. There are much bigger issues, and so I feel like this is a distraction. Probably will not help us in a general election, but at the same time, and I think it's legitimate to bring up.
You know what it reminds me of is when two boxers tangle up in the middle of a fight, especially in later rounds, because they're really just giving each other a rest. And maybe that's what they're doing. But, you know, again, it highlights things that drive Hillary Clinton crazy, which is having to deploy her husband. And now Donald Trump has talked about her being an enabler and him being impeached. And those are things that are so incredibly uncomfortable for her. And she has been protected in this Democratic bubble. And now she's wading into territory where last time around, it was Barack Obama who was still playing by these establishment rules. She's not competing against Mitt Romney, and she asked for this bigger general election fight. She wanted to shift the optics, so it's her versus him, the clash of the titans, and I think she's very uncomfortable. She's discovered what Jeb Bush has discovered, which there's no easy way to contain this candidate.
So, Harris, according to Ed Henry's reporting, the Clinton campaign says that Bill Clinton is going to stay disciplined, on message, and that he's going to talk about the Clinton economy from his administration.
Well,
do you think he'll stay on message?
It's just one appearance so far, so it shouldn't be that hard, right? I mean, it's one day so far. You know, a couple things. First of all, the other Republican candidates should just give Donald Trump a big old wet smoochie, because he's going to focus on this issue. That leaves the rest of the field to focus on all of those important issues that you talked about. This is a moment of truth for the rest of those candidates. Thank you, Donald Trump, they should be saying. And now it's their opportunity to stand up a Chris Christie or a John Kasich and to say, the Clinton Foundation monetary stream, this is what it looked like. Right. You know, here we are in the middle of Saudi Arabia and Iran now. Saudi Arabia is our ally, and we made that sort of bedroom deal with Iran. That's complicated. How did we get here? Foreign policy. She's tied to that. I mean, this is an opportunity for the rest of the GOP candidates to stand. Will they do it? That's the question.
But, Andrea, we always know that there's an opportunity for reporters to throw out some questions. And while he's campaigning for Hillary Clinton, you know, never know what's going to happen. Her campaign says they're going to keep him on message and discipline. That could change.
Oh, yeah, Bill Clinton controlled. Remember when he had that meltdown in South Carolina? I mean, it's like, tell that to the Obama campaign. Like, he's not a controlled man, and if anyone understands that he can't control himself, it's Hillary Clinton. I don't think they wanted to roll him out now. I really don't.
Why do you think they did?
Because they had to. They had to. This is not a good debate for her. I know that some Republicans think that this is a huge distraction, but when you make your entire campaign about women and fighting for the rights of women, and you sat silent at the State Department, instead your husband's charity took money from countries that persecute women, you were the woman that pressured your predatory husband's accusers into silence. I mean, this is a real important issue. And the reason, Sandra, that other candidates can't bring up foreign policy, like a Marco Rubio, for example, is because they have the same foreign foreign policy. So certain candidates can bring up Libya, like Ted Cruz. He can bring up the Arab Spring and how that was a failure, and he should. But she's got big messaging troubles, and Bill won't help.
Well, one thing's for sure, for all those who are criticizing, oh, they shouldn't bring this up in Bill Clinton's past, there's half the electorate, under a certain age that weren't born.
Yeah.
You better be careful when you say
so this will be news to them.
2 for the price of 1.
Oh, listen to
It
you.
means something
2 for the
vastly
price
different
of
now than it did in
Go, girl.
1992. This is not even 2012 Bill Clinton. When he stepped foot on that Democratic convention stage, he was a legend. And certainly that image and that legend has been tarnished in the last 4 years.
Very different now.
All right,
What happens?